Welcome to the first episode of the Full Devotion podcast series. I'm Yoni Katz, and over the course of the next several months, I'll be interviewing various rabbis to understand the famous mimer Lo Yisi Meshakela, which deals clearly with the question, does Hashem need our mitzvahs? My first guest is Rabbi Gershon Schusterman from Los Angeles, California, who was gracious enough to sit down with me and help me better understand the mimer. Before I begin, I would like to read a short excerpt from the diary of Reb Tzvi Hirsch Gansberg. Last Shabbos Mevarchim Adar, Shabbos Parshas Mishpatim, the Rebbe left his room at 12:35 p.m. and entered the study hall through the back door, taking his place at the head of the table, which is positioned on the southwest side of the room. When his entrance was noticed, his chair was brought for him. After several moments, he began delivering the mimer entitled Lo Yisi Meshakela. As on previous occasions, before he delivered a mimer, the Rebbe's deep and intense feeling was noticeable, and his face was white. The mimer lasted 55 minutes. While delivering it, he cried very much. On several occasions, he could not hold himself back and cried audibly. At one point, he explained as follows, "It is written, I shall fill the number of your days." God grants every person a fixed number of days to complete his divine service. This applies not only to the days, even the hours and minutes are accounted for, and a person must perform the divine service necessary, using every moment to the fullest. This point should constantly be gnawing at a person. He should feel under strain and under pressure, contemplating what he could be doing to use this moment fully. When the Rebbe said these words, we could see that he was living them. He spoke them from the depths of his heart and could not continue speaking. He leaned his head on his right hand and cried for several moments. It is impossible for a pen to capture those moments. I ask God to allow that picture to remain in my mind for my entire life.
What he says is that in Avodah itself, there's the pratim and there's the etzem Avodah. He calls it the teitzah of the Avodah. You know, the fact that you're being Oved Hashem is no difference if you're dealing with a diptychos or divrei seifrim, or you're dealing with the most important mitzvah. The mitzvahs themselves are very different from each other, but there's a core that goes through all the mitzvahs, and that is the part that connects to Atzvus himself.
The question is, what does that mean that the pratei avodah, the details of the avodah don't matter? What are the details of the avodah?
The details of the avodah are that which distinguishes one mitzvah from another. In other words, tefillin has a kavanah for moyachin, tzedakah, moyachin lev, shoroshes and moyachin. Both of them have the core. The moyach is meshubed one way. The lev is meshubed another way. To be meshubed to Hashem is the universal core of mitzvahs tefillin. It is also the universal core of every mitzvah. Every mitzvah, and this is a big theme in Tanya, every mitzvah is to be committed to the Hashem. And every mitzvah's leisesa is not to go against the Eibishter's will. So therefore, you can even wrap mitzvahs, asay mitzvahs, leisesa together. You're an Eved, whatever the master wants, that's what you are committed to do. Whether he wants you to schleifen diamonds, to polish diamonds, or if he wants you to bring him logs from the garage. Obviously, one is refined and one is coarse. But if your sole interest is commitment to the master and to fulfill the master's will, it's irrelevant what he wants from you. It may be relevant to you. So if you want to be a tzaddik, and because you want your own fulfillment, sure, there's a big difference between studying Kabbalah and giving a nickel to a poor man. They're at different planes. But if you have one, but in as much as the core of all mitzvahs and all averos is commitment to Hashem, if you can strip away everything else and just focus on that, all mitzvahs are equal. And that is, it often says, Chassidus, that there are different levels. What is the advantage of Nasa before Nishma? Why can't you say Nishma? Nishma v'Nasa. I am committing that whatever you tell me to do, I will do. That's Nishma v'Nasa. Because that, you're committed to the Ritzayin Hashem. One Ratzon wants one thing. I'm going to do that. One Ratzon wants something else. I'm going to do that. But the Ritzayinos are different. They plug into a different part within you. But you're committed. Nasa before Nishma means I am not committed to the Ritzayinos. I am committed to the Baal HaRatzin. Whatever he wants, I'm doing it. And then the Ratzin that expresses itself loses the focus on what the Ratzin is, and the focus is retained on, if that's what the Baal HaRatzin wants, I'm in. And that sounds very much like, Baal HaRatzin sounds like Atzmus. And the individual, and the commitment to the Ritzayinos is the Elikus in Ishtalshalos. And the Elikus in Ishtalshalos, there are big differences from big mitzvahs and little mitzvahs. But when you get to the core of the mitzvah, or the commitment to the Baal HaRatzin, all mitzvahs are equal. Why did the Eibishter create the world? Was he missing anything? See, the way the Maimah phrases it is the Eibishter is not chaser anything. Therefore, you can't take away anything from him, and you can't add anything to him. And now you can open another chapter, which will take 2 hours to talk about. But the core is that Nesava HaKadosh Baruch Hu liyus leidir b'tachteinim, Vasilagani, which we just learned. The core is there's Nisava. Nisava is a desire l'mayla. In the person, it's l'mayla me'ishtalshalos. In other words, when you want something because of seichel and midas, then the issue has importance to you. A bigger thing is more important. A smaller thing is less important. Nisava, it doesn't mean it's important. It means I want it, which equalizes everything. That's why in the Basilagani, it's a stala kikar the kuchabich. It's seviv kalam, which in this context would mean the gili of atzmas, which is ma'al mishtalshus or mitzvahs are equal. So the Eibishter. So we're stuck here in. But does he still want it? And if he doesn't get it, is he lacking? The answer is the Eibishter is perfect. The Eibishter wanted. This is putting it in my own words. High tape. The Eibishter's perfection, or the Eibishter, more than perfection, the Eibishter's absolute existence. That is what the definition of Atzmos is. Not perfection. Perfection means he's the most wonderful. That's an expression of Ishtalshalos. The Eibishter's essence is expressed in his absolute existence. Use the term mandated existence, mechuyev hametzias, absolute existence, metzias amiti. Often, Boire is the creator is the only thing that has any relationship to that. But the Eibishter's absolute existence. The Eibishter's presence, the Eibishter's existence, needs to, in and of itself, express itself absolutely everywhere.
He needs to?
It needs to, in other words, that is what the meaning of Nesava is. The Nesava is that the Eibishter's presence should permeate everything, because that's the truth. The truth is that the Eibishter is everything. Therefore, his presence should permeate everything absolutely. Not even Gili Elokus. It's the Gili Elokus of Mashiach, where Ha'etzim The etzem is behiz galus. And in order to achieve that, that's how it existed before the world was created. The Eibishter, before, all that existed was God and his absolute existence and his infinite potential.
But you're saying he had that need before the world existed.
Yeah, but we can't use the word need. The problem is the word need undoes this whole concept.
Because
need means without it he's lacking.
But you're trying to say that he
existed that way, and he existed that way, but he didn't exist that way in an environment which can repudiate him. So he created an environment that can repudiate him, that's us, and he said to us, find in your core who I am, express it, and that will create an electric jolt from the very essence of Hashem to the Kabbalah's oil and iskafia that you're doing, and it will flash through all of Ashtalshalas, and that will be Mashiach.
But you're still saying that there was this inner drive, call it desire, call it need, call it whatever.
The problem is we have no words to describe for Hashem, who is absolute and perfect and cannot have needs, to address what was the purpose of this transition. So we use the term need, but we don't phrase the need. We try to find words which the need is not a need. Nisava doesn't mean, need means I am lacking, and when I get it, I am no longer needy. Nisava doesn't mean I'm lacking. Nisava means it's a taiva frekmanishkin kashis. It comes from the Eibishter's very core, that core has to permeate everything because that is who the Eibishter is. So if we can take time out of the equation, we'll say the true existence of Hashem is that he is absolute, and his absolute permeates not only that which is transcendent, but his absoluteness permeates everything, even in a place where, were there to be people, they would have challenges to find God, because God would be hidden from them, and yet they would dig deep within themselves, and they would find God's essence in them, and that they would express it, and that will make it all one line, one arc, from Atzmus to Elam HaAsiyah through Iskafia. And that's why so much of Chassidus and so much of the Rebbe's Maimorim and so much of the Tachlis HaKavona is for Nisyonis. And the Nisyonis are partially for us to prove who we are, but the ultimate thing is because that is where Hashem's absoluteness is expressed even in an environment which he concealed himself from, and which means that his presence is beyond revelation, even where he is hidden, which is an anomaly. How can you be there and be hidden? And that only applies to Atzmas. But in where he exists, and he is hidden, and human beings, you and I, through Iskafia, we find God in our environment, and we make that paramount, and we live that way, even though we don't have the Giluyim. That achieves closure. Except that since it goes through a Shtalshalis, it takes on a structure, and it takes time, and 6,000 years, and Golas, and all that stuff. But if you can take time out of the equation, this is the true existence of Hashem. Time is irrelevant.
So in his essence, that's where this desire lies. So now, what happened if the desire is not fulfilled? The idea that it could not be fulfilled is impossible. It is absolute that this is... See, what happens right now, Eibishter is here with his whole essence. He can't be concealed. Less asarponimine. The Giluyim are absent, but his very essence is here. The purpose is to show that even in this world where he is not revealed, we will find him. And when we find him and do his bidding, and that permeates our mind and heart through our Iskafia, then we achieve a Sapcha,
that creates the ark.
Right. But I'm saying, let's say today I don't put on tefillin. Does that affect him in his essence?
It doesn't affect him in his essence because you're going to do tshuva tomorrow and undo what you missed today. That's why there cannot be anything lost, because God's plan is that everything will be Megala Elokus, and even, I don't know if you can say that about Averis, but there's a Ha'ara in Likutei Sichos that even Averis are part of the master plan. Bottom line is, it is all part of the master plan, and the master plan has to play out in time, and it has to play out. For us to address this, we have to find words. And those words are stuck in time, and they're stuck in before and after, and they're stuck in the words of Giluyim and Helam. If Helam meant Atzmus, we wouldn't be able to learn Chassidus. Helam means Helam. But underlying the Helam is Atzmus. But it has to play itself out. And that's why he placed in us a neshama, whose etzem is godly. And he gave us Bechira, which the core of Bechira is the etzem neshama. So that which the Eibusher planned from day one will be fulfilled perfectly. And it's not optional. It will be. It has to be. It cannot be otherwise. So to say that the Eibusher wanted it and needed it and got it is superimposing human terminology on the Eibusher. It was meant to be. It was there all along. It just went through the process of Ashtalshlus until it burst through Ashtalshlus and took away the helm of Ashtalshlus, and that's called Mashiach. That's why Mashiach is such an integral. Mashiach is not a bonus. Mashiach is the truth. The hope from Vayemer Elokim Yehi Or is a Ruach Shel Mashiach. I'm not a Mashiach, but Mashiach is the essence of the purpose of creation. That will reveal what all this was about. Retrospectively, it'll look beautiful. Right now, we're struggling.
So just one last question then. So at the end of the day, let's say today's Shkia, and Chas v'Shalom, I forgot to put on tefillin. So I don't necessarily have to feel so bad.
You better feel bad, because you were created in a world of Giluyim, and your avodah is to permeate your Giluyim with Avaviyira. The day that you didn't have Avaviyira is a flaw. Yeah, and you have to do tshuva. You have to do tshuva, and I have to do tshuva.
It's affecting. I have to do tshuva because I feel how bad it's affecting him.
All the chesroinus that we do are in Ashtalshlus. The chesroinus don't transform the essence.
I thought you were just saying it does because it's an essential desire.
Because you will do tshuva. If you can take time out of the equation,
okay.
Which therefore means you have to take Ashtalshlus out of the equation, but if you could take that out of the equation, at the day Mashiach comes, it will have meant that all the flaws that took place during Golus and during the Shit Alpha Shni, the Hava Alma, are now rectified, and everything from Hashem's very essence to Tachtis HaAsiyah is all permeated with God's absoluteness. And that somehow will straighten out. The Giluyim will become aligned as well.
So how does that answer the question? You're saying the Pratei Avodah don't matter, but the Teitzah matters.
The Teitzah matters. The Teitzah is the Gilui HaAtzmus, and the Teitzah will be fulfilled. It's not optional. Even though in words we have to use before and after, Nisava, and then the Taiva gets fulfilled, but those are words. But we have to then abstract the concept from the words and say, there is God's essence, and the God's essence is here and will be in time fulfilled in its utmost, and we should be zecher to see it.